Gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities, Friday, September 12th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Usually my Fridays are out and about at a high school football game, and man, that was the plan this week. If anybody's been watching, and people who have, thank you for watching, and thank you for reaching out. Some of you guys that are, how you feeling, all that kind of stuff. All was good. Last week at this time, I was losing my voice. Got through the weekend and the Hawkeye pregame stuff and gave it a break. Didn't do a show on Monday because of the voice. Voice came back Monday-ish into Tuesday. Felt great that whole time. And then Tuesday night started feeling yuck. And for some reason, I get pneumonia too much these days. And I knew what it was, got to the doctor on Wednesday, and had to deal with it. Haven't felt great this week. Luckily, I work from home. I have to go upstairs and talk about sports, so we grinded through some shows. Feeling better today, which is really exciting, but erring on the side of caution. Didn't know how I'd feel when I wake up this morning, and didn't want to go to a high school and all that kind of stuff if I was sick. So staying here in the studio, but bringing the show still to you guys. And I will say this is the third straight day with a hat and a t-shirt and all that kind of stuff. The beauty part of doing your own show from home. But feeling probably the way I've looked the last couple days. But we've got a jam-packed show for you today. It is a football Friday. High school football week 3 already here. After today, we will be a third of the way through the high school football season, which is crazy and wild to even think about. So again, plenty to talk about. First and foremost, if you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and tell a friend or 2 or 10 about what we're doing right here in the Quad Cities and the bi-state area each and every day here off the air at 10 a.m. every weekday. Also, if you're watching us on X, thank you so much for that. Thousands of people watching on X every day, which is really gratifying and cool. And then, of course, there's the podcast version as well. People are watching that in big bulk as well. So all you everydayers that give me a buzz and say, hey, listen to the show while doing this, or, all those kind of things. We appreciate that. Keep doing it. Spread the word about what we're doing off the air with Matt Randazzo. That's how you get the show. Hopefully you're checking it out and all those kind of things. It's been a fun week as we've talked about the Hawkeyes and the Illini and Iowa State and all that kind of stuff. Fridays, we focus on high school football for the most part. And we got a great show for you today. Coming up in a matter of moments, our good friend Nick Welch from United Township is going to join us to talk about the 2-0 Panthers. Western Big Six play starts tonight. So kind of gives us a chance to kind of reset, look into the Western Big Six season. They go on the road to Galesburg. We'll preview that. He's a Bears idiot too. So we'll talk Bears, Lions, and all that kind of stuff. So Nick Welch coming up in just a little bit. Also in later in hour number 1, our good friend, I almost said Mitch, but Greg Armstrong from View from the West joining us. No Mitch this week. We apologize, Mitch out of town. We'll address it later. But Greg will help us get set for a great week of high school football on the Illinois side of the river. In hour number 2, a big game where I was probably going to go this week was down the road from where I'm at to Rockridge. 2-0 Rockridge and 2-0 Riverdale. Should be a great game. So we'll hear from Riverdale head coach Guy Dierikx coming up on the show right around 11 a.m. So make sure you stick and stay for that one as well. And then a little Don Umland at the end of the show. We'll talk about the Iowa side of the river a little bit, a little wrestling, have a little fun before we get rolling into our weekend as well. If you're watching this and you're an Iowa fan, a friendly reminder, the Hawkeye Tailgate Show on the Hawkeye Football Radio Network will come your way tomorrow. It's a 4:30 start for the Hawkeye Tailgate Show. We do an hour, goes into the pregame, goes into Gary and Dolph. You can check it out here in the Quad Cities. Vintage Radio 107.7 WQUD is where you can check it out here in the Quad Cities. But if you're watching us outside the Quad City area, you can check it out wherever you get Hawkeye Radio Network. It's been a ton of fun. Good show tomorrow lined up. Pat Anger, as always. The honorary captain, Tord Young, will join us as well. We got a great press box perspective. Also a little one-on-one with Xavier Wampa. So a lot to get to on the radio tomorrow evening. So could be a historic night as Kirk Ferentz takes aim at 206, becoming the winningest Big Ten coach in history when it comes to number of victories. So a lot to get to tomorrow with that as well. So we want to remind everybody, coming up tonight, 10:15, it's the View from the West live instant react show. Started it 2 weeks ago. People love it. I got on week 1, week 2 with The Voice. I didn't do tonight. I'm going to be there. Mitch out of town, as we mentioned. So myself, Ty Taylor, also joining Greg Armstrong, talking high school football tonight. So make sure if you have not subscribed to View from the West, you do that as well. Their YouTube page is where you find that show. That'll be a ton of fun as well. So a lot of high school football to talk about today. And without further ado, we will get things started with a familiar face for us here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, a guy that's winning football games 2-0 on the season. So what a way to start our Friday. If I can't go out and about to football, I'll bring Mr. Football to everyone else. Nick Welch, head coach at United Township, joins me. Happy Friday, man. These are fun, aren't they?
Yeah, it's I feel like days are long, but weeks are fast. And, it's crazy that we're already at Friday. But then when you sit back and reflect, it's like it's been a long week. But, yeah, happy Friday. It's game day.
Yeah, it's weird. It's week 3 of the high school football season. And I tell people this all the time. Like that countdown to kickoff comes quick for a week when the season starts. And I feel like you blink we blinked and it's a third of the way over. Does it feel like that for coaches and players as well? After tonight, Coach, you're a third of the way through the season, regular season. There will be more, but a third of the way through the regular season. Isn't that crazy? Is it like that for you guys?
I 100%. And I think what the biggest thing I found is because you get in a routine, okay? You got game days on Friday. Saturday, this is what you do. Sunday, you game plan. Monday, you got morning practice and then your meetings and then a JV game. Tuesday, practice and meetings. And you get in this routine and it's like you're just automated almost. And I mean, honestly, it's scary how fast it goes. And I think it's scarier for the players. I try to remind our seniors to be where their feet are. And the biggest thing is hey, you blinked and it's when the clock hits 0 tonight, you're a third of the way done with your regular season. This is the last 9 guaranteed opportunities you get to wear this uniform, which I know they wear with an immense amount of pride. So don't take it for granted. And I think coaches need to enjoy it as well.
No, absolutely. United Township, the only Western Big Six team that's 2-0. And now the fun begins because the conference begins. What did you learn about your team during the first 2 weeks of the season?
That despite our experience, we're still high schoolers, right? And we have things that we need to correct. But the biggest thing that I feel like we found is that all the mistakes that we've made are correctable mistakes, which I think is really important. It's not like we'll turn on the film and oh, these guys are just better than us, or we don't have it. That hasn't necessarily been the case. I think that LaSalle Peru quarterback is a total stud. And, this is no disrespect to anybody we're going to play in the regular season, but that's probably the best player that we'll play. And if I'm missing somebody, I'm sorry, but I don't know anybody else that's getting recruited by the likes of Ohio State and Notre Dame. So at the most important position, all positions are important, but that was such a great test for us. And he put our defense in a tough spot in some ways, but up front in our skill positions, I feel like we have the size, we have the strength, we have the talent. Obviously got to stay healthy, but feel like everything that we've seen that needs to be corrected is correctable. And then on the positive side, the speed and playmaking ability that we thought we had on offense is legit. And then defensively, our team speed is what we thought it would be. And honestly, we're only going to get healthier. We got our sophomore safety got cleared last Thursday, got to play last Friday. And, he hawked down 2 passes. If he didn't have a club on his hand, he probably would have picked him off and almost chased down a guy from across the field. And then our top corner is hopefully going to get cleared Monday. Has been out for a couple of weeks with an injury. So I'm really excited about what we can be, but we can't look past tonight. And that's the priority.
I'm going to talk about Galesburg and a road trip here in a second. When you look at your 2 games, and it was weird week 1. I mean, it was it's a really good foe, good battle, but then you go home, you got to come back and play, and it's just different. I get it, and your fans are so great, and I'm sure there was a great crowd on Saturday, but you're fired up, ready for a Friday night game. You got to come back and do it again. So to do that against a good team, and then last week an impressive victory, an early start. What did you learn more week 1 than you did week 2? Because of the situation and the opponent than week 2, or was it an all combination of a perfect mix of what you guys wanted to do to start the season?
Well, I think it's important week 1. I mean, that's a really good program. They play in a really good conference. Those are tough physical kids that kind of fit the mold of a Western Big Six team, right? I think so. That was really good. In week 2, everyone kind of will make their own jokes about, we can't play schools like that or whatever, but it's so much more than that. It's senior night for us. An opportunity for every kid to get on the field is how it ended up playing out. You should have seen the way that those kids that came to UT, the kids from Muchin, we had the marching band out. We had a good crowd, playing under the lights, fed them after the game. They got to ride a charter to the game. It's not just about our kids. It's about their kids and the experiences that they're getting as well. They play a lot of their games at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. How many people are there?
That's great.
They're not under the lights. It doesn't have the feel that a Friday night at Soul Bowl does. So I think in terms of the football sense, I definitely week 1 taught us a lot. And, it was ironic because we wanted to scrimmage that second Monday of fall camp. And we came down, we had the media day stuff. We got all of our senior banners and then lightning came. And we waited like an hour and a half and then ended up sending them home and saying, all right, guys, it is what it is. But, you never know. This might happen to us later this year. Like we might have a lightning delay where we got to burn time and for an hour and a half to 2 hours in the locker room with not much to do. How are we going to handle it? And then sure enough, week 1. And there was a point in time where I thought we were going to go back out. I didn't realize, thanks to our wonderful officials, that technology doesn't matter apparently. So when the technology says lightning's more than 10 miles away, it doesn't matter if you can see it.
Oh.
Well, what you realize is that the lightning isn't going to go away when it's 80 degrees in that environment. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I get you.
Everything we had technology-wise said we could go back at 9. But then the ref said, well, no, it's a feel thing. If we can see it, we can't play.
I don't want to get you frustrated or annoyed or anything or anybody in trouble, but I was doing PA over at Alleman, and I kind of thought the same thing because they were getting ready to play. And you saw – have you heard the team Heat Lightning? Like I think that's kind of what you're talking about. That's what I could kind of see off in the distance. And I was like – I think I said to Tom Johnston, who was up there with me, like – that's probably off in the distance. That's probably where we're able to go. So maybe not the same mindset over at the Soul Bowl, but I digress. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, anybody frustrated. It is what it is.
No name drop.
And we're
no
done.
Names were dropped.
We're done and we're moving on. And that's the beauty thing.
Yep.
Before we get into tonight's game, we talk Western Big 6. It starts tonight. It's such a battle. We talked with Mike Morrissey earlier this week. And we both know he's dreamy is what he is, handsome fella. But after I got over that and done being starstruck, I asked him about his headlines or what he sees or thinks about the Western Big 6 because it wasn't bad by any stretch, but it was just intriguing because you saw a team do something good, and then in the same breath, you maybe saw the same team do something that questioned what was going on. So it was, and that's the way it always is. What were your thoughts of the Western Big 6 as we get ready to get into it now for the next 7 weeks?
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't done much like looking ahead. I've looked at scores. I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know much about the Missouri schools. Obviously, last year we saw Moline and the Rockwood Summit team on film, and that was a very competitive game. And it looks like it was essentially the same thing this year, but the home team won. And I had no idea about anything about the school that Quincy's played. I haven't looked at the film or anything, but obviously it had to be a pretty good team because that's a great program, and I know Coach has a bunch of good players. But yeah, I mean, you knew Rochelle was going to be good. I think last year was the team that they said was the team, but they still felt really good about what they had coming back. And, Coach Furlong being a young squad this year with some experience coming back, but young up front. Wasn't sure how that game would go, but kind of thought maybe Rochelle might get them, but then they bounced back and kind of dominate Assumption. So that was good for the Western Big 6 and the Illinois-Iowa conversation. And then, Rocky with, I know Fritz mentioned like playing like 6A schools. Well, Canelan's really good. Like,
yeah.
I grew up over there and yeah, they're 6A, but that's not a run of the mill program. I mean, that's a good program. So they played some really good teams week 1 and 2. And then Galesburg, tough one to Dunlap, who Dunlap then kind of gave Rocky a similar treatment. And then, come back with a big bounce back win against Limestone, being down 25-19 with halfway through the third quarter and then kind of go on a run. That was very impressive. And, Coach Rome, our defensive coordinator, said they're doing just enough on offense. It's kind of annoying that because it's like more stuff that we have to prepare for. Sure. So, yeah, it's been interesting. Obviously happy for Allman to get a win and, be competitive in week 2. And we'll see how this week goes when they got Quincy.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it different in Western Big 6 weeks? Because obviously every week's important, but you guys know each other so well and you prepare for each other and all those kind of things. And the rivalries are different. And you know what I mean? Like it's just getting up for Galesburg or whoever it may be is just different than even a DeKalb team, a LaSalle Peru team that you knew was going to be really good. So what are Western Big 6 weeks like? They become different, don't they?
Yeah, and I think for us, like Coach Hickey being in his second year, like we didn't really know what to expect last year as he took over for Coach Blackwell. Mm-hmm. So it's like a lot of adjustment, but like this year, there's continuity a little bit over there, and they've made some tweaks, but for the most part, they're similar. So you kind of go back to your notes from last year and you watch the film from last year and you see what went well. Obviously, the personnel's different, but we're excited to play. I think my favorite part is no matter where you're playing in the Western Big Six, it's a great facility. It's going to be a really good environment and a crowd. And, I don't know if we need extra motivation, but our kids enjoy playing in front of a good crowd on the road. I think they like that and they're going to enjoy that. They're excited about this opportunity and, just trying to find ways to do what we do well that we can take advantage of, and maybe some things that they do that makes us a little nervous, and make sure that we're doing what we're coached and doing it with great fundamentals and great discipline.
I used to say the Soul Bowl was the most slept on stadium in the area. I think it's getting its respect now, which is a beautiful thing. I would say now Galesburg Stadium is one of the most slept on stadiums, obviously newly done recently. I say recently, it's probably been more than I think. Time flies. But would you agree? Like it's a great atmosphere down there as well, and a great stadium.
I love the way they designed it with the field house, in the end zone. And, you look up and they've got like the walkway, and then above that you've got the glass windows with the cardio machines. Like somebody had a good vision, and I don't, and like Soul Bowl and like Browning, right? Like there's like a history to it, like literal history, right? But new stadiums are cool too. Ain't nobody mad about a new stadium, the Bears ended up building one in Arlington. Like it's going to be cool, even though Soldier Field's got like a rich tradition, right? So I think sometimes people are like, oh, it's new, it's not as blah, blah, but I think it's great playing down there. There's always like funky technology issues. I don't know if they have like some weird like warp going on around there, but hopefully they're experiencing the same stuff that we are. But yeah, it's a great place to play. We've never played there early in the year. We've always played them at the end of the year. So it's always cold and windy. So it'll be interesting to see how it is when it's warm, and hopefully no random thunderstorms pop up.
Take me real quick through game day. For you, for your all that kind of stuff. I joke that like you're in Harding's office, there's probably donuts and all that kind of stuff, and you guys just hang out and watch football or my show all day, hopefully. But what is game day like? And obviously probably different on the road than if you have a home game, but what is it like? And also with you seem like a superstitious dude. I don't know if that's true or not, but you seem like you like sleep upside down at night on game night or something like that. Like it's some weird. Is there weird Nick Welch stuff and superstitions?
I'll be honest. So I will say that I've historically had superstitions. They've kind of went by the wayside this year for whatever reason. I don't know if that's just because like my wife and I used to get 11th hour every Thursday night, and I would go pick up dinner after I went to team meal, and I would get the same thing if we won the week before. There's some years I got something new every week, and then there were some weeks like I felt like I got to eat something twice in a row, and then I had to change it. Maybe it's because of the kids, not in a bad way, but like that. All right, it's not about us anymore. It's about what we need to do for them. This year, I like to wake up, I like to work out in the morning before school, clear my head a little bit, kind of get some good mojo going, drink my coffee, and then kind of make sure everybody's on the same page. We'll make a game day itinerary for the kids, where they need to be, when they need to be, from when they show up to the stadium to what time. In this instance, first road game we're leaving, or a home game, like when we're taking the field, what do they need to have on? Make sure the play sheet's done so my coaches can print it and laminate it. And then, other than that, like I really enjoy watching like before, like I used to stay away from the freshman game, but now I like actually like helping out. And not like I'm coaching, but I want to coach the quarterbacks. Like that's my position group. So let the coaches coach, but let me help, just like they help the varsity team, like they help the JV team. Like let me do my small part. I really enjoy being a part of that. And then I think once like the third quarter ends, I feel like we really like lock in. And that's where the pacing starts happening and all the things that I'm trying to create in my mind that Galesburg said but never really said, or, like Nick Welch being Nick Welch. How do I find an edge no matter who you are? And then I just love going in and talking to our kids before we take the field. That's one thing that's been consistent, a little message. And I try to make it different, but at the same time, there's like certain things that are mainstays of like, what do we have to do to win? I'm not going to lie. We got to be tough. We got to be physical. We got to be disciplined. Like that's the theme all year. Those are the three things. We're not tough, physical, discipline. That's what we need. And they get to hear that in a more aggressive way and then go play. So when I was younger and before the kids, I had like boxers. I had to wear the same boxers. Like I had to wear my shoes. Like I wouldn't get dressed until halftime, like of the freshman game. Like it was weird stuff. And then I realized that has no impact on winning. And I'm just creating all this anxiety in my life when it doesn't work out that way and just go with the flow.
Kids do that, man. They really, in a great way, put life in perspective. I could tell stories about that as well. I used to love doing the mic'd ups with you because they were super passionate. I'll tell you this. I remember back in COVID, it was the COVID spring season, and we got out to see you guys after you maybe started 2-0, and you're all cranky. I'm like, what are you cranky about? And you're like, well, finally somebody came out here. I'm like, well, like, and you're like, you do previews because we would always do previews. I'm like, Nick, we didn't do previews this year because we just got done with basketball. Like we didn't have a chance to, like, usually in August, and you're like, but you would use that as motivation probably with your team. You and Ben Hammer, you saw like Hammer one time I came over and he's like, the kids probably aren't going to like you. I'm like, why? He goes, I told him you picked them to finish last in the conference. I'm like, I didn't do that. And he goes, I know. He was like, but I told him you did. I'm like, well, thanks, man. Like my car is going to be keyed when I go to leave. But he's like, any little thing, I get it. I told, hey, if you guys need me, that's exactly what I'm here to do. So before I let you go, week 8 is Rocky Moline. I heard there's a little rivalry there. I'm sorry. Rocky. Sorry. Jiminy Chris. I have pneumonia and I'm on drugs. So that's my Moline UT at the beautiful Soul Bowl. It's the steroids and the drugs talking. I apologize. I want to make the show's going to be there that week on Friday, and I believe the ADs might be betting a little bit. Is that okay? Can I reserve the Soul Bowl for week 8 at 10 o'clock on a Friday morning?
I want you to know that you are. There's no one nowhere else I'd rather have you take your show that week than the Soul Bowl. And there's no one else I'd rather miss some class for to come talk to than you. So
that's awesome.
It means a lot. It means a lot to our kids and our community. Hopefully that game is relevant and matters as much as we maybe feel like it will right now. But we're not looking down the road. We got a big one tonight, and we've got a lot of great opponents in between. But I mean, no matter what, like that's just a fun game for us. It's been a good rivalry the last couple of years.
And good games as well.
Great program.
Okay, I lied real fast. You're a Bears fan, aren't you?
We're in the same spot right now. I
get it, but
I don't want to hear anything.
No, I'm not making fun of you. You know I'm a Lions guy. What your thoughts this weekend? Like what happens on Sunday?
Can we
who
make
bounces
a wager?
back better? Do you want to?
Yeah.
What though? What do you want to wager?
Winner. We can. That's a good question. What do we want to wager?
And it can't be. Somebody tried to do like if the Bears win, they put a Bears helmet on my set, and I can't do that. Like I can't put that kind of stuff. How about loser shaves their legs in honor of Morrissey? No, that's not nice. That's mean.
All right. How about this?
Okay.
How about this? Loser. I'm just assuming at some point I'll have to come on. Okay, the show again.
Yeah.
When that happens, the loser has to wear the opposing team's sweatshirt.
That's
during
perfect.
The show.
I love it.
So you got to wear a Bears hoodie
during that segment.
During that segment. That's it.
Beautiful. Deal.
I don't have a Lions hoodie, so I might need one.
I got more. I got
a Bears hoodie though for you.
I got a Lions hoodie. I wear a Lions hoodie all the time. I'll shake. Here you go. That's weird, but yeah, here we go.
Heck yeah.
All right. Well, best of luck. Are you worried at all about your quarterback? I'm worried. I'm a little worried, but not after watching Green Bay last night. I'm a little less worried because I think they're really good, which sucks.
Yeah, it doesn't matter almost. Yeah, I feel that.
But you're a quarterback guy, like, and I get physical skills. I get all that, and they're impressive. But you have to be able to do it up here as well. Are you at least a little concerned that it might not be coming quick enough? Obviously, it's early. I'm not trying to put cart ahead of horse.
It goes both ways. Okay, so the first thing is like Ben Johnson's offense. Everybody knows how complex it is. It's a lot of terminology. There's a lot of moving parts. Like everything about what he's doing is with pre-snap movement, okay, whether it's shift, trades, or motions. Right now, when you're in this part, and this is like the part, like to me, like this is why keeping Eberflus, my opinion was, if you're going to keep Eberflus, keep Fields. If you're not going to keep
start new
Fields, start new right now, just because now he's starting from scratch. So right now, Caleb and all those offensive players are thinking about what they're doing, not how they want to attack it, right?
That's a good point.
So you almost have to, in my opinion, I'm not making an excuse for him, but you have to look at this as really year one, because he's going to, by week 11 and 12, he should start to learn the scheme where now he's like, all right, I know naturally what everyone's doing, and now I can start thinking about how I want to attack this. How can I manipulate the safety? Because Coach Johnson is doing that with his, but you still have to process. The second thing is this, the accuracy worries me. You're too good to miss. There was like 6 or 7 throws that like you can't miss those throws. Yeah. Now, again, it's not like he has no arm strength, but like you saw it last year, and it's just baffling to me because sometimes it's like, and I've missed throws and I'm not nearly as talented as a quarterback, so I get it, but like consistently missing these wide open throws. So I think that's he's moving too fast with his brain and his feet are moving too fast. But part of that is like, dude, you got to have a little confidence and throw the ball with some conviction. Sure. And I think he's almost where like last year was like, don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. And I don't think Ben's saying that to him.
Yeah.
So like get rid of that thought, play with confidence. Obviously mentally you got a lot going on, but no, I'm not jumping ship. I think there was certain things that he did on Monday night that he would have never done last year.
Oh yeah.
Like you saw going through progressions.
He's going to be a better quarterback because so I love Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's an amazing human being and a great coach that brought me a lot of happiness. You now have Benedict Johnson in my mind. Like it's not even the same human being. It's a different person. It's a shell of the person he used to be. I hope it fails miserably and he has to come back and they reunite. What I learned on Monday and Sunday was that they need each other. Like the Lions' talent was what it was, and his mind was what it was. You put the two together, and it was a 15-2 team. You take them apart, and each need to work on different things. I could talk Bears Lions with you forever.
One last thing I forgot to mention, though.
Okay.
The investment they made in the offensive line this year is going to pay off.
I think so, too.
Because last year was a debacle.
And
it's
they didn't.
And you have all these fancy gadgets, but you got no motor. Like a car doesn't run without the motor.
Yep.
And
all starts up there, and that's the Lions' biggest problem this year is that the interior offensive line. Now, they didn't realize Ragnar was going to retire until he did, and that made things a little different. It was after free agency and after the draft, and so that kind of put him behind. But, man, I tell you. But, hey, I know I actually got Harding texting me.
That's fine.
So I think what it is he wants to get his nap in. So let him get back in there. Always appreciate you. The bet is on. Good luck tonight. Bad luck on Sunday, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thanks for Daz. We appreciate you.
All right.
Go Panthers.
Nick Welch, head coach of United Township, kicking things off on a Football Friday here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coming up next, we'll chat with our good friend Greg Armstrong from View from the West and kind of look at the area as a whole as we get ready for week 3 of the high school football season. Wish I could be out on the road, getting over a little pneumonia, feeling a lot better today, but safety was more important first, and we'll get back out there next week. So we'll be right back on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hey, Quad City parents, tired of the same old weekend?
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday in the Quad Cities. As I've mentioned before, love to be out on the road. We've had a lot of fun the first 2 weeks, going to Pleasant Valley week 1. Last week we were in Geneseo, had a blast out there. This week was hoping to get out. Couple schools in consideration, probably going to go down the road to Rockridge. As I've kind of talked about several times on the show, battling pneumonia this week. So I figured it'd be smart for me and wherever I was going to make sure we stick it here in the studio this week. We'll be out and about again next week, but filling up a fun show today. And Fridays, as always, is high school football. And it always means our good friends, Mitch and Greg. Oh, Mitch, did I not? Is he still holding out for more money?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Like,
he came on. He gave you a gift last week and came on, but now, nope. His contract demands a lot.
I think the text literally said, "Look at how many more viewers are watching your stream right now." Am I wrong? Like, wasn't it something like he was referencing hundreds and all that kind of stuff? So I knew then and there that was gonna bite me in the rear. No, Mitch out of town this week. Actually, not going to be on the View from the West Instant React pod tonight. You're dipping low. Like Ty Taylor and myself? Like, are you sure?
Ty Taylor and you leading the show with me, so it'll be good. It takes two of you to replace Mitch. I hope. Yeah.
Ty was on Wednesday, and Ty referenced the fact that like you got two good-looking media stars to replace Mitch. I think it's a pretty good deal. Like I do. I think it'll go over well, but no, it should be a ton of fun. So we'll talk about it again at the end of this, but View from the West Instant React. It's a live show at 10:15. Live coaches interviews, breaking down everything that's happened throughout the great state of Illinois on the western half of the state when it comes to high school football. It's been awesome. And Greg, you've not maybe humbled's a good way to put it, but like I think when we thought about this and we kind of threw it out there, it was a good idea. Boy, it's gone really well through 2 weeks.
I think, yeah, so far so good, right? Like technology, when it's your friend, is amazing. So we've been able to get coaches on live, talk to them after games. Last week we had Nick Welch from United Township, who is he on your show today?
He was just on. He was just on.
So there you go. So he's making the rounds now with United Township, sitting at 2-0. We had Toby Vallis from Farmington. They had a big win last week, but it's been fun. It's been fun, getting to hear from coaches and kind of picking their brain after a game and letting them kind of, decompress a little bit with us, right along with us. So
Greg and I spent, how many years were we together at WQED? 4?
Probably 4
or 5. And we had some great Friday night seasons and high school football seasons. And we would always talk in the newsroom that and even after the times that we were together, because you would always shoot and help out, that it flies by. And I know I talked about it with Coach Welch. It's cliche, but man, after tonight, we're a third of the way through the high school football season. It just sounds, it's bizarre. It just started and here we are. Does it fly by for you like it does for myself?
Yeah, I think it does. It usually doesn't hit me until week 7 or, week 6 or 7 when it's oh man, now we're at the stretch run, the end of the season. I think what's exciting is like every week it seems like there's a new kind of story or a new twist. And when you start week 3, you start conference play in the Western Big Six. You get the interdivisional games in the Three Rivers. So now you get like those matchups that really mean something, right? For our local teams matching up with each other. And I think you also have that, like, if you're sitting at 0-2, or even if you're sitting at 1-1, depending on your matchups, like, it's that urgency, right? Like, we can't really say it's still early. It's because it's not really early anymore. You got to kind of win some games now.
Yeah. No, we're not the Brian Stocking that, like, after week 1 are ready to doom and gloom, but like, you're getting to the point. Yeah. I mean, some big games coming up this week as well. I think you mentioned it's fun. Like, the Western Big Six starts conference play. There's some interesting matchups in the TRAC and all the conferences. Let's start in the Western Big Six, and they're going to this is one of those weeks that when I looked at the schedule, Greg, I was like, man, if I was in my former life, I would not like this week because there's not a metro game when it comes to the Western Big Six. Geneseo is hosting Rock Island. Moline's going to Sterling. Altman's going down to Quincy. UT's going down to Galesburg. Obviously, for people around the area, that's like when you're in the Quad Cities and your stations are here, you got to move around a little bit. But with that being said, it is an intriguing way to start the Western Big Six. We just got done talking to Nick Welch, so we'll talk about them in a second. But I think when you look at the schedule, Greg, isn't it Sterling and Moline? I mean, that's two teams that before Quincy went on their run, dominated the Western Big Six, two well-coached teams. I think two teams coming off of victories. That's kind of what I look at when I look at the Western Big Six week 3.
Yeah, that's the matchup that kind of catches your eye. I think that Moline has had 2 really tough games. One, they came up short. Last week, they got the win against Sycamore in dramatic fashion. So I think, like, they look really good so far, even in the loss on the road. Sterling, I think you have some questions. They lost pretty big to Metamora. They weren't competitive in that game. They get a win last week against a Chicago school that, how much can you take away from that one? So I think that in the Sterling, Moline game, you have questions about Sterling. And then I think when you look across the board in this Western Big Six schedule, there's pretty much a clear favorite in every game. But I think what's intriguing is, like, which underdog, quote unquote underdog, based on what we see here, is going to kind of make that statement. I'm not saying it's going to be a win or an upset victory, but who's going to kind of catch your eye this week and say, hey, they played better than I thought. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We talked with Nick Welch and what it's like going down on the road and all those kind of things. Galesburg, to their credit, played well last week, and they have a little confidence. What Coach Welch said, like his DC said, they start doing more and more and stacking more and more on offense. Impressed by Galesburg, and we both have talked. Coach Hickey put it in a challenging situation last year. He had a year to get this team more ready. Week 1 was a Dunlap team that's going to be a lot of teams this year, but I think they found their footing. It's an intriguing matchup, great stadium down in Galesburg, an intriguing matchup tonight. You mentioned UT's that only 2-0 team in the conference. Does Galesburg give them a bit of a scare tonight, or can they hang around with United Township?
I think, Galesburg went on the road and they had to come back from a third quarter deficit, multiple deficits throughout the third quarter. So I think that's impressive in itself. Bartonville Limestone, the team they beat, not a great program. They've struggled, themselves. But I think either way, to build confidence, Grady Hickey, the coach's son, is at quarterback. He played really well. Bradley Eaton scored 3 times for Galesburg. So to your point, it seems like they're figuring some things out and they're kind of getting that foundation, set in place. And now you kind of put your best athletes in spots to succeed. So I think now they're tested, right? Like, you get that win, you get some confidence. Now you got to go play a United Township team. You host United Township team that they're playing really well, right? And they're one of the favorites in the Western Big Six. So I think that's can United Township answer the call and be that team that is expected to be the favorite going in? Yeah. And what can Galesburg show us?
It's fun because United Township for so many years were obviously chasing, and now they're being chased. And they didn't win a conference last year. I'm not saying that, but like the expectations are that they're the one of, like you mentioned, the favorites to win the conference. Grady Hickey, I think, second in the conference in passing yards right now. I think just a sophomore. So hats off to that young man kind of stepping into that position and playing well for the Silver Streaks. Also this tonight, Alman makes the trip down to Quincy to take on the Blue Devils. And it's Geneseo and Rock Island is so intriguing because Geneseo found their footing last week. I think that was that maybe the most impressive victory in the Western Big Six last week, and take nothing away from Olean and the thrilling overtime win and stuff. But for Geneseo to bounce back after playing a really good Rochelle team, obviously they got I like to call it the OTA bounce. I was out at the stadium in the morning, so that probably had a lot to do with it. But to play really well and beat an Assumption team and kind of control the game against Assumption, that tonight's game is so intriguing. And you mentioned you don't want to get into that situation of week 3, pump the brakes. But if you're Rock Island, you got to start finding some victories.
Yeah, right. They need that, they need that confidence. They need that, confidence boost or that momentum. But man, it's looking like it's hard to stop Geneseo and their rushing attack between Kai Weinzerl and Jackson McAvoy at quarterback. This really seems like kind of that old school Geneseo that attack you on the ground. And hey, we do what we do, right?
Yeah.
Is that the old Larry Johnson quote?
We do what we do. We're not reinventing the wheel. We do what we do.
I think that Coach Furlong is back to doing what we do. So, and that's impressive. They looked really good. They're sitting on 699 wins as a program. This would be 700 if they get the win. Yep.
That's a little stockpile. Like, is that from him? Or
I forget where I read that at. What's that?
Did you beat him to the punch?
I might have got it from stock. I don't know. No, it must have come from Geneseo somewhere because
he's listening to this right now.
Back in the top 10.
He's listening to this right now, and his mind's like exploding. He's like, no. Like he's grabbing his cards and all those kind of things. Greg Armstrong from View from the West joining us right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Big games in the Western Big Six. We'll have it all covered for you tonight on View from the West Instant React podcast. The TRAC is always so interesting. Last week, we talked about the game of the week in the Western Big Six for Rockridge to be down 2 touchdowns in the second half. I remember being in the press box at Alleman doing PA for that game with my raspy voice because I was barely hanging on to it, and knowing and hearing they're down 2 touchdowns, and all of a sudden hearing that they won the game. That's an impressive victory and a statement win for Rockridge. We knew they were good, but to go on the road and beat Princeton, Princeton's going to finish 7-2. No offense to any, and they don't have a game tonight now. Sherrard forfeiting their game, and we wish Sherrard the best. We'll talk about that in a second. But Rockridge came out of week 2, maybe my most impressed team in this conference.
Yeah, I think that every team, no matter how well set the program is, especially like a Rockridge program, you still have questions every year, right? I mean, almost regardless of who's coming back, who's not, whatever it is, you always have questions early in the season. We knew they had Cullen Schweigen. We also knew they lost some pieces on the line or on the defensive end of things. But to go on the road in week 2 against a Princeton program that is, set up the way they are, yes, that is to have to come back the way they did. All of it is very impressive. Cullen Schweigen, earned himself the Player of the Week for Breedlove Sporting Goods Player of the Week from our podcast. Over 303 yards total, I think, between rushing and passing, 5 touchdowns, and 2 of them huge, critical late in the game. So I think when you look at his play under those circumstances, it's great. He's actually our first 2-time winner. How about that? No one's ever gotten it twice.
Greg, he's just a junior.
He has time to win another one.
He's really, really good. You look at it with him as well, and yes, he gets a lot of love, and rightfully so. He's got some toys to play with, Greg. The Steel Boys, those receivers, really, really good. What was it? VJ Wilmington, who records a lot of their games and covers a lot of their games, shared some video with me because their final drive under a minute to go, or under 2 minutes to go, I think, when they got it back, was our Skiles Driving School drive of the week. Extremely impressed. And they now host Riverdale. Greg, like, the expectations were high at Riverdale, and they've exceeded expectations within 2 weeks. Getting their first victory under Guy Dierikx against Kewanee. We're going to have Coach Dierikx on coming up here in a little bit. That's an impressive win as well. That's the game of the night tonight, is right? Like Riverdale and Rockridge should be as good as advertised, right?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at 2-0 versus 2-0, every game in that TRAC Rock division is fascinating. We can talk about, all of them in a second here, but yeah, I think that's the one that takes the lead. And, Mitch pointed it out on our show this week. When was the last time that you had Riverdale playing Rockridge and you kind of had to do a double take? Like, I don't know, like maybe this isn't, Rockridge isn't going to, win this one, but you never know.
Yeah.
So, and that's, that's credit to where this program is built to in Riverdale, is that they're in the conversation, no doubt about it.
No, absolutely. Other games in the Three Rivers this week, and it's one of those things, Greg, where we'll talk about it here real quick. Princeton 0-2, and you figured they get back on track. It's a really good football team. I think it's one of the best 0-2 teams in 3A when you look at the state in general. But they're not going to play tonight. They get a forfeit victory, and you feel bad for Sherrard. I know they've dealt with some injuries. The press release says sickness as well, but not enough kids to field a team tonight. And it's happening more and more often, unfortunately. Orion's numbers were down last year. Alaman's been out for the last 2 years, back playing varsity this year. You look at a Riverdale program that's really good now. It wasn't too long ago when they weren't playing varsity football. Just, I guess, your thoughts on Sherrard and kind of what they're dealing with and going through.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We heard that last night, and you hate to hear that. And it also, like, looking big picture, like you said, it kind of makes you nervous. It makes you wonder, like, how many available players do you have, in 2 weeks, next week, and looking down the road, and then, you start looking down the road, big picture next year. And so you really hope that they can get healthy. Obviously, that's number one, not just from injuries, but, from the sickness, the illnesses have been going around the team. They haven't been around you, right? You didn't give them pneumonia.
No, don't start that. Don't start that rumor. Don't pin this on me. I get blamed for enough around my house. Let's not do that.
No, but in all seriousness, we hope for the best for them, for healing up from injuries and from illness. And we want everybody on the field. We want Sherrard on the field. And I think, man, it's tough for Princeton because the two losses they've had against two really good programs, like, you felt like they kind of needed a week just to get back and just to get comfortable, right? Like,
get right.
These players know that they're a good football team, but they're sitting at 0-2. Like, sure, you get a forfeit victory, but man, I think they want to get out and earn it. They want to get out and build some confidence. So it's tough for Princeton in this case.
There's only so many Friday nights, so I get that. I will caution this. Teams go through it. Nobody wants to go through it. Schools go through it. No school wants to go through it. Don't blame. It's just an unfortunate situation. So many times in this situation, like you just mentioned, Princeton people could be frustrated with Sherrard and all those kind of things. And down the road, if it happens more, I know there was a time, Alaman's last year playing varsity, they had to forfeit a game against Moline. Nobody wants to do it. It's not like they decided, let's do this so just have patience with it. Have understanding, because it's an unfortunate thing that's going on in high school football. So a good matchup on Saturday, Greg. Erie Prophetstown and Newman Central Catholic. I mean, you look at what Newman's been able to do, and here's EP at 2-0 as well. Measuring stick time for the Panthers to see how good they may be.
I will say this TRAC Rock division is so balanced, right? So competitive and so equal across the board. I was sleeping a little bit on Erie Prophetstown. I did not. I mean, I don't know if I didn't expect maybe 2-0, but just the way they've come about being 2-0, playing really good defensive football. They're scoring some points. I'm really impressed with Erie Prophetstown right now. And yeah, it is a measuring stick. You go on the road on a Saturday. That's a pretty unique environment there. Like Mitch says, he loves going to that campus at Sterling High School for either a Sterling or a Newman game. It's a great atmosphere there on a Saturday. So I might be there. I got some free time on Saturday. I think I'm gonna make the road trip. I'm excited.
I love that. I was gonna ask. I figured you would be. Hall and Mendota also play tonight. Monmouth Roseville's 2-0 despite Greg's doubting Jeremy Adolphson from the jump.
Here we go.
They go on the road to Kewanee. The last game I wanted to talk to you about is Orion Mercer County, because again, it's stockpile-ish, if that's a term I can use, but this looks like a must-win for both of these teams just because of the way the schedule sets up. And obviously you have to play the games and you don't give victories away in weeks beforehand and all of those kind of things. But your thoughts on that, because both teams 1-1 and a winnable game for both teams and maybe different styles as well. Mercer County wanting to run the football. Orion, who gave up a lot of running and rushing yards last week to Monmouth Roseville, but they'll sling it around the yard and pass for a ton and score a bunch of points. Just another one of those games, maybe differing styles. A big game for Orion and Mercer County, I believe, down in Aledo, if I'm not – yeah, down in Aledo.
Yep. Yeah, certainly a contrast in styles, right? I think that you're going to see that Mercer County offense really trying to hammer home the wing T, and Coach Fred Lucas talked to Ty Taylor on WRMJ that he really felt like they kind of found their rhythm a little bit in that game against Sherrard, whereas in the first week against Monmouth Roseville, a defense that posed a lot of problems for them, they really couldn't get in sync and get things moving. I think you saw them kind of figure some things out against Sherrard. Now, I think the opponent gets that much better now when you're going up against Orion. Orion's, not going to struggle to score. They're going to put it in the air, the complete opposite of Mercer County. They're going to spread you out, and they're going to attack you. Orion's defense, though, that's, can they stop that wing T? How good is Mercer County at that wing T right now? They've gotten better. So I think, yes, and overall, I agree. I think that this is one of those games with that sense of urgency. Like, you got to win this one, because you start looking ahead, like it just gets harder. There's a lot of games on the schedule. They're going to be tough. If this is a game you can win, you got to grab one here.
No, I completely agree. And Monmouth Roseville had a ton of success on the ground last week, but I don't know if Mercer County's rushing the football the way Monmouth Roseville is right now. They're doing it at a high level and all of those kind of things. Greg Armstrong from View from the West joining me right now. LLC, and I know that you're going to say the games that intrigue you. Every game intrigues everybody. I'm going to take the viewing area off because this is on this is on YouTube. This is all over the place. So I don't want to restrict myself. Obviously, I know the Quad City area and that, but in the LLC, what stands out to you?
On the large side of things, sticking in conference play, Illini West at Macomb, two teams that are both
special.
Oh, I hope he's all over
Dewar
it.
Special.
I hope, yes, exactly. I hope he's all over that one. That's a big game. Two teams sitting at 2-0, riding a lot of confidence right now. And I know that Macomb got the win in week 1 over Rushville Industry, who's one of the favorites in the other side of the division. So they've played some good teams. And Illini West, I believe, got the win last week on the road in a non-conference game. Let me look it up before I get it wrong. But yeah, they went on the road to Decatur St. Teresa and won 34-15. So I think when you look at what they do, 431 yards, that's kind of a do what we do kind of thing. 431 rushing yards. Isaiah Knotts and Ethan Carlisle leading the way for them, playing really well. And on the Macomb side of things, Drake May is a player to watch. 3 rushing touchdowns a week ago. He was a name we knew coming into the season. Just a football player, just an athlete who's all over the field. So that's a good matchup there. On the small side of things, a game that feels very similar to Orion and Mercer County, I would look at Stark County at Havana. Havana's sitting at 2-0. They're playing, Havana's sitting at 1-1. Stark County's 2-0. You start looking down the way, this feels like a very important game if one of those teams is going to get to 5 wins or 6 wins and, be looking at a playoff appearance. So those are a couple games that kind of, stand out to me. Farmington hosting Eureka in a non-conference game. Eureka's been a playoff team the last couple of years. Farmington came off the huge win last week over Elmwood Brimfield. So I think that's another intriguing one for sure.
You're probably big down in Farmington these days. You should.
I hope so.
Yes.
We love the Farmers.
They've been really good. NUIC. Some localer teams for me, when I look at it, for me, obviously, it's always the Galenas, Fultons, Morrisons. You look at Fulton, and there's a talented football team and a good head coach. They need a victory tonight. They're one of those teams that kind of need one. They got to find it on the road at Forston. What do you think in that in the NUIC? And there's obviously some really talented teams in there as well. But you look at Fulton, that's one of those teams that need to get one in here in week number 3.
Yeah, this seems like a really important game for them to win. It's on the road at Forston. Forreston's 1-1. We're still trying to figure out. Forreston struggled last year, but it's still a really good Forreston program, really well-coached team. So we're still trying to figure out what Forreston's all about. I think Fulton's a good football team. I think Braden Myers at quarterback and some of the other weapons they have around him, I think it's a really good team. They're just desperate for a win, right? They just ran into two really good teams, and you're going to run into a lot of good teams in the NUIC. But they got this one against Forest in the next 2 weeks against Stockton and Lena Winslow. So those are going to be really tough challenges. This seems like a must-win game for them as well. Yep.
No, absolutely. Big picture-wise for the NUIC, it's as good as ever, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you start looking down the way. Stockton got the win last week against Lena Winslow. We know how good Lena Winslow is every year. Stockton appears to be that team this year.
Wow.
Obviously, if you take down Lena Winslow, that's a huge statement in itself. But then you start going through. Eastland Pearl City got the big win in week 1 over Fulton. They're playing Galena this week. Galena is also sitting at 2-0. So, and Galena's got a 3-year starting quarterback in Roman Romer back, playing really well right now. So that's a critical matchup. Lena Winslow actually is going on the road tonight to play Rochelle, a 5A quarterfinal team from a year ago.
Yeah, talk to Geneseo how good Rochelle is. That's,
I know.
Wow.
So I give credit to Lena Winslow to see if they can hang with them. But man, they're not afraid of anybody.
Yeah, and you look at it too, people that are maybe more closer to the Quad City viewing area, if you're wondering your 1A schools, these are all teams that, if you're Newman and you have high expectations as you should in 1A, these are the other 1A teams that are going to be the semifinal, quarterfinal matchups, if you will, when it comes to those kind of things. So, boy, it's already, you start talking about that kind of stuff and saying those things, you think playoff football already. So it should be a ton of fun. Greg, tonight, it should be a blast as well. 10:15, kind of remind everybody what the View from the West Instant Reacts is all about. A lot more structured this year, which is a good thing, but still a lot of fun in the same breath.
When you start bringing in coaches, you want to, coaches are structured. They're regimented for the most part. So you want to, cater to them a little bit. So live 10:15 View from the West on YouTube. Just head out to YouTube, search View from the West. We'll go live. We'll got several coaches, potentially lined up from games we just talked about. So depending on who wins or loses, we'll invite some coaches on, talk to them about their game, how things went. We'll go through all the scores, all the results, and react to it. And the best part is you can kind of react along with us, make comments. We can pull your comments up live on the air and react to how smart you are or how silly your comments are. That's all the part of it. But it's going to be a lot of fun. You, along with Ty Taylor from WRMJ and several maybe surprise guests along the way. So.
Yeah, it's been frustrating for me because week 1, the weather kind of put me off course. I hopped on for a second. Last week, I barely had a voice and was like, guys, I can't do it. I got this radio thing to do tomorrow. So on tonight, Alamans and Quincy, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing tonight. And then I'm probably going to check out a high school football game for a little bit somewhere and then come home and hang with you guys before I head up to Iowa City for the tailgate show tomorrow. So should be a blast. Can't wait to join you. Greg, enjoy the football. By the way, before we let you go, your son had Brian Stocking as a teacher this week.
He did. Yeah, get this. In music class and in PE.
That's quite the spectrum when it comes to...
I know. I asked if they sang karaoke. I don't think they did, but I was hoping for some karaoke.
Brian Stocking's teaching PE. I know it might be in a substitution thing, but I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll digress. Did he enjoy it though? Was there any good stories? You don't have to tell said stories, but was there any?
Of course he had the this day in history. Yeah. So it was, I believe, when the United States lost to the Soviet Union in basketball in the Olympics, and it was the controversial one where they, there was the U.S. was kind of screwed in the end, and they refused to take their silver medal. So he gave the whole backstory. So Casey must have been listening because he knew, the day in history when he got home. So that was important. So,
yeah, I think did he know did Stockpile make the connection?
Oh, he knows. Casey? Yeah, he knows Casey.
Okay, that's awesome.
He met him at the kickoff party.
Oh yeah,
and was giving him all the tips and all the insights to how to be a high school student. So I don't know if that was good advice, but yeah.
When I think of somebody who needs to get somebody ready for high school, I think I think of Brian Stacking. So anyways, my friend, I know you have a real job you got to go do for a little bit. I appreciate you doing this. Next week, we'll try to get the contract negotiations done with Mitch, and we'll see if we can get the big timer to join us once again. And we'll talk to you tonight at 10:15. Can't wait.
All right.
All right. Thanks, buddy. That is Greg Armstrong. View from the West tonight, 10:15 YouTube. If you're not following or subscribed to View from the West, their YouTube page, do that. It's well worth it. Shame on you if you're not doing it already. And join myself, Ty Taylor, Greg, and a cast of characters and coaches tonight, throughout the night, starting at 10:15 on YouTube live. It should be a bunch of fun. Coming up after the break, we've talked about the Rockridge Riverdale matchup. We'll be joined by Riverdale head coach and a good man and a good friend, Guy Dierikx, right after this on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Welcome back to...
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile party experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday in the Quad Cities. Of course, Fridays we usually hit the road. Wanted to this week. Been dealing with this little pneumonia bug for most of the week. Feeling better today, but I thought for safety purposes, we stay in. And one of the places we were thinking about going was just down the road from my place at Rockridge. Rockridge and Riverdale, battle of 2-0 teams tonight, big battle in the TRAC. And I figured if I can't go out to that game and preview it out there, I might as well bring some of the game to us. So joining me now, the head coach out at Riverdale, Guy Derks. First and foremost, thank you for doing this. Congratulations. It's been a fun start.
Yeah, it's been exciting. You know, hopefully you're on the mend here. I know you got a big weekend and hopefully you're feeling a little bit better, but yeah, you know, we've had a great start here and just exciting, you know, riding this wave, riding this roller coaster to 2-0 and hopefully 3-0 here coming forward.
Yeah, Coach, we talked before the season and the expectations were there and you guys have embraced them. To come out the way that your guys have early on, what do you like about what you've seen? And, you know, the weight of the world was on their shoulders. People expected good things and they've risen to the challenge so far. Is that the way you kind of look at it?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think that first week, it was just a lot of nerves, you know, a lot of expectations and to come out at home too. You know, it's nice to play at home, but also, you know, you're gonna have a big crowd. You've got to put on and show on for everybody. But, you know, that second week, last week, you know, our kind of theme was pressure is a privilege. And so the opportunity to be in that position that people notice that they're working extremely hard is a great thing to have, you know, and they have put themselves in that situation by staying the course, doing the little things, you know, all the coach speak, all of that stuff. But it's one of those things that, you know, it rings true here that they stayed consistent, even when they didn't have The results, they weren't showing up as wins on the scoreboard. But our effort and our attitude has always been good. And when you put that together with, grinding in the off season and doing all the little things right, then, eventually those things pay off and you're able to see the benefits.
I wanted to talk to you before we talk about tonight's game with, start with last week, because you guys played well week one, posted a shutout. Last week, I feel like, and you can tell me, that things clicked on both sides of the football, scoring over 50 points and then allowing just 7. What was it about week 2? And obviously there's that improvement from week 1 to week 2, and it wasn't bad in week 1, but did you see a nice jump in your team when it came to week 2 and what you guys did on the road at an always good Kewanee team?
Oh, absolutely. Kewanee's a hard place to play. They've got athletes on the field, and then they're big dudes, and they're going to come after you. And so, initially, again, for us, our kids understanding, we can do this. We can control what we can control and work hard and do that. It didn't turn out in the first 3 plays. There were 3 penalties, 2 on us and 1 on them. It was 2nd and I think 25 before we hit about a 48-yard touchdown run. And so from that point, we never look back. And so to have that opportunity and keep rolling like that, it makes me look a lot smarter as a play caller on offense, to when the kids are executing and doing the right things, because everybody's got a game plan, and every offense, doesn't matter who you are, you draw it up, they're supposed to score a touchdown. So it's not so much about the X's and O's, it's more about the Jimmies and Joes that are executing it. And, last week it all came together and they did a great job.
They did do a fantastic job. Coach, you look at and you mentioned hadn't beaten Kewanee. And it was weird when you said that you hadn't beaten Kewanee. It surprised me. And then when you said you've been there for 10 years, it made me feel really old. And no, that's not what you're out to do, is to beat certain schools and all. I know you have a lot of respect for every school, but it is nice to start, when you look back to where the program's been and where it is now, to start checking off some things that you'd like to get checked off. And that was probably one of them as well.
Yeah, just an opportunity for kids to work hard and improve and just go up against other schools and communities. And so that opportunity, presented itself and they took advantage of it and really, really ran with that and controlled it from the beginning.
Absolutely. What do you tell your kids this week? We'll talk about Rockridge in a second, but they've been one of the standards in this conference for a while now. And it's a big game. It's at their place. There's going to be a bunch of media hype and attention. And their coach is going on one of the most popular shows in the history of the Quad Cities right now. So what do you tell your guys about getting ready for a game like this? Also knowing that this is where you want to be and this is what you want to be playing in at the same time as well.
Yeah, obviously at the end of the season, we won't be playing meaningful games, as we go on. But this is as meaningful as it gets right now. And I remember with my great grandpa when I was younger, Saturday mornings I go over there. My great grandma would make breakfast, but my grandpa and I'd sit there and watch wrestling in the morning, Saturday morning wrestling. And so, from that, I kind of learned some jive talking and smack talk a little bit. But it's one of those Ric Flair moments to say, hey, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And so we're at that moment that, whoa, that's right, 2 claps and Ric Flaps. So we have that opportunity to go out there and do that. And so for our kids to have that opportunity right now, it is understanding pressure is a privilege. They work for it. Rockridge, they're going to get their shots in. They're going to have opportunities. And for us, we're going to learn a lot about ourselves. How do we respond in certain situations, offensively, defensively, grinding things out, and they're going to have big plays. And how do we lock it back in and not give up and pack it in on drives or plays that we're going to learn a lot about ourselves and about this program and how to get to where we ultimately want to be.
Coach, obviously one of the best players in the conference and quarterbacks in the area is Cullen Schweigen. What do you see on tape from him? And you talked about getting their shots in. They can be extremely explosive, being down 2 touchdowns last week at Princeton and scoring 21 points the way they did. How do you prepare for someone like that? And what do you see being on the opposing sideline with a young talent like that? I know you guys have to be impressed.
Oh, absolutely. He's been impressive since he was a freshman. As a freshman, he rushed for over 1,000 and ran and passed for over 1,000, and only has gotten better and better. And so, the talent that he has around him as well. I mean, I feel like those receivers have really stepped up and, got an experienced line. And so, their offense is clicking on all cylinders to get to where, back themselves back in the game and ultimately win that game last week. And we know when it comes time for it, that ball is going to be in his hands. And so, keying on him to, he's going to either run or throw, but keying on him and what they like to do offensively, but also defensively too. It's, they're a downhill team. They're going to throw a lot of guys at the ball, and they do a great job of fast reads and getting down to try and make those things happen. And so, again, it's weathering the storm. Both sides, not letting the highs get too high, not letting the lows get you too low, of maintaining that consistency. And no matter how many times you get hit, we got to, and get knocked down, we got to step back up and come at them again.
Guy Dierikx joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, we talked about, Schweigen and how good that offense can be. I want to talk to you about your defense, only giving up 7 points all season. And I think you said on both levels, they haven't given up one touchdown in 4 games between the JV and the varsity. What is it about what you guys are doing on that side of the football that's clicking right now and has to probably continue to click to have success tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we brought in Brian Creer, who was at Augie for the last, I think, 7 years. But before that, he was at Ambrose, and then back here, he was at Riverdale for a while before I got here. And so the opportunity that he's kind of gone out and had experience at the college level, and learned some great coaches, Coach Bell and Maloney and those guys at Augie, and what he's been able to kind of take from them and then bring to our level has only elevated our defense that much more. We were pretty vanilla when I was calling defense. Just try to get them to play fast and downhill and trust their reads. And so now they've got a lot more reads, a few more things to think about, but obviously it's given different looks for the offenses and being very successful. So I credit a lot of what we're doing defensively and the success that we're having to Coach Creer and what he's been able to do with our kids.
Coach, I talk to people about Riverdale a lot, and a lot of the times I get, man, this is awesome, especially with not having varsity football, especially with not having, you hear that narrative out there. Do you guys like that narrative? Do you get tired of ever hearing about the fact that there wasn't varsity football a couple years ago, or is it what's created you and helped you along this journey? What are your thoughts?
This group of seniors were freshmen that year that we didn't have a varsity program. And so I think it's always important to remember where you're from, right? To understand, maybe kind of how we got there and what that looked like. And so, but ultimately it's understanding, okay, that's where we were. Now we're a program now where, hey, kids and my kids razz me quite a bit about, man, you're always on, you talk with news and radio guys and all these things. And so, to have this, it's awesome. So, kind of riding that wave, like I talked a little bit about earlier, but I mean, it's part of us. And so we've learned from it. We understand how we got there and learn from that and put some different things in place and in action. And kids have grinded and they are at the place now where, they're a respectful program. And so I wish I could say it was me, but I mean, it's these kids that have bought in and stayed consistent. And I'm just so dang proud of them for, staying consistent and staying true to this program and our beliefs. And so it kind of come back to it. It's a part of us. And so it's, I don't like to say that, we're not there anymore. Right. But, to hopefully be at this point now, we're pretty excited about it.
And you look at it too, Coach, unfortunately, it's not against the norm. I'm not saying it's normal anymore, but you look at Alderman is just coming off not having a varsity team. In your conference this week, Sherrard had to forfeit against Princeton because of lack of numbers. So you never know. I want to say a slippery slope, but you can have dips and valleys when it comes. Orion last year was with low numbers as well. It always can kind of depend. If you look at a Sherrard this year and this week having to forfeit, you can you can relate a little bit because you weren't in you were in a similar situation not too long ago.
Absolutely, yeah. I haven't talked with Coach McGuire at team dinner is actually when I learned about Sherrard this week, and so I think we were probably one of the first in the area to do it, and that's one of those things that you never quite know how you're going to end up on the back end, right? Because it's like you said, slippery slope and scary situation, but you have to do what's best for the kids, as far as safety of the program and Allman and Sherrard. And so while we were the first, when Allman was going through it, I talked with those coaches quite a bit and kind of learned from what we learned through that process and how to come out stronger on that back end. And I have no doubt that, Coach McGuire is going to get them back going again. And Coach Barber's doing a great job over at Allman. And so, you just got to situations are what they are, and people are going to say what they're going to say. And you have to have that unquestionable doubt and belief that what we're doing is the right thing. And, keep working, keep grinding. And if you're able to do that, then you do come out better on that back end.
Just a couple more for you before I let you go. You look at, I know how excited that town is and that area is. When it came to football coming into the season, I think Brian Stocking is on a different level right now. I don't know if he's slept all week. He's so excited for you guys. It's continued. I think the first time I talked to you, you could tell the energy and the excitement in the community and all that. It's still there, maybe amped up a couple notches, safe to say, after the start?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it just kind of comes with a different feeling, right? As a player, as a coach, as an administrator in a building, when your program is doing well, you're able to walk around with your chest pumped up a little bit more and head a little bit higher. And so, in the community, talking with people and alumni. And so it's a great experience for these kids and them understanding that they're the ones that have done it, right? Like they have put the work in and this year kind of being a little bit more aggressive with our team slogan and our team poster of, time to reap what we've sown, that they've planted it. And now it's time to harvest their hard work and energy.
Coach, before I let you go, I talked to Tom Barber a couple weeks ago after their first victory, and he was I believe you might've been at your house outside getting ready to do a fantasy draft. How did the draft go? I have a feeling it might've been kids and not you guys, but tell me about, did it go well for you or your son?
Well, I mean, we're sitting at 1-0 right now.
Okay.
I won't say so much. Coach Barber, he can talk for his team. But yeah, the relationship that Coach and I have had and our kids have had, and he still has ties to this community that, a lot of the parents are supportive of him and
Sure.
To get him back. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed watching that. And all of a sudden he stepped out and I'm like, where'd you go, man? Because you just had some weird picks here these last couple rounds. He's like, oh, I was just talking with Dazzo. Yeah. Like, all right, well, hey, go out. I think he's calling you again. You better go back out there.
I like at least he put me over a fantasy draft. I don't know if my family, I don't know if I could have done that, but I completely understand it. Anything, how do you prepare today? How do you prepare on Friday? How do you get ready? Any pregame rituals? I don't know if I asked you if you were superstitious last time. You shaved your head one time, so God knows how superstitious you are. Anything extra for tonight? And what's the pregame rituals and routines you got to go through?
No, I mean, business as usual, right? Another opportunity, it's their homecoming. So, they're going to have a lot of stuff going on and it's going to be rowdy. And that's the way we like it. This year has been anything but normal for us. And so we normally we have parents that set up travel meals. And so, we'll get there and take off, have our travel meal. And then once we get there, I think probably about the only thing is I give the kids about 15 minutes where coaches are out of the locker room. They can listen to their music and not have to worry about us old guys being in there for a while. But usually we have let them walk the field and just kind of get those nerves out before we go in and do our talk and pregame stuff. So, understanding that there's going to be a process to it and kind of allow them to go through that range of motions before we really rein in and focus in on what we need to do.
I love it, Coach. Well, best of luck tonight when you take on Rockridge. Hopefully, are you going to get up to an Iowa game this year? I know you're an Iowa fan. Are you planning on getting up to Kinnick?
I think you know what we are going. We are going on Saturday as well. So I'm doing that one for sure, and then maybe another one. So
let me know. We can. I can share an adult beverage or two with you. So let me know. Come up early and join us at the Hawkeye tailgate. Seriously, come up early. You're outside of Krause Plaza. Do that. So, Coach, appreciate it. Best of luck for the high school, and then as always, go Hawks. We'll see you on Saturday.
You betcha. We'll see you.
All right. That is Guy Dierikx. Big game tonight, of course, in the TRAC. Riverdale, Rockridge, 2-0 versus 2-0. Should be a ton of fun. We got more to get to. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday right here in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. Welcome to Crawford, a great new sponsored Crawford company of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. More with them to come in weeks ahead. Excited about that. It is a Friday in the Quad Cities. Usually we are out and about. I was thinking about Rockridge today. I was thinking about maybe North Scott today. Unfortunately, health has me being cautious and sticking and staying here in studio, which it's been a bunch of fun. We've had Nick Welch from United Township, Greg Armstrong from View from the West, Guy Derks from Riverdale, and it's one of those things where it's like I got too much Illinois and I got to balance it out and talk some Iowa with somebody, and when I need somebody in a pinch, you can always say his name and he'll appear. I believe in Don Umland, and there he is. Hey, pal, how are you?
Yes, sir.
Are you wearing, what do we got here? Are we a little Cena?
Yeah, I went a little old school this week, you know.
Yeah.
Last time is now.
This could be the last time you get a chance to wear it on the show. So a good idea to do that as well. Back in action tonight, week 3 of the high school football season. You're around locally. Want to talk to you about a couple different things. We're going to hit on the Iowa side here in a second. I don't want you predicting games or anything. You're a referee. But a question we had earlier in the show, Don, was from Nick Welch, because week 1, like, they canceled till the next day because despite lightning not being in that 10-mile radius, they could see it. Over at Donland, where I was at, they played despite seeing heat lightning out and about because it wasn't in that 10-mile radius. What's the rule?
Yeah, it's a good question, Matt, because we're dealing with it all over the state. Here it is in its simplest terms. If we can hear it, meaning thunder, or on their app, they can see if it's within a 10-mile radius, we need to stop. And every time we get a new new thunder boom or one that recognizes within 10 miles, we have to reset the clock for 30 minutes. If we just see it off in the distance and it's just, there's no thunder and it's not showing within 10 miles, we can play. But the 10-mile radius is the key, or if we physically hear it.
Hear, not just see. There is heat lightning, which is something, I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. I don't want to get too much into weather. But heat lightning probably a little different than the.
Well, we've had situations, Matt, in the game where you could see it off in the distance and it's 20 miles away, and it's just you see it, but it's not within the 10 and you can't hear it, and we can keep going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Rules wise in general, it's always good to have you. Don, a longtime official, umpire, officiates football and basketball. Not very well at anything, but useful, I guess, if you could say. Any other like misconceptions when it comes to like rules, or what are the ones that you hear a lot about?
I wrote 3 or 4 down just to try to, there's a bunch, but let's just hit 3 or 4 really quick. We have a kickoff or a punt. If it breaks the plane of the end zone, it's a touchback, and it comes out to the 20. And that can include if it caroms off a player, because he's going to run back there to get it. But if once it breaks the plane, however it got there, that's a touchback. We're going to the 20. Okay. A muff versus a fumble. We hear that term, a muff in football, but a fumble is a guy carrying the ball. He gets hit. It comes out. Anybody could pick it up and advance it either way. If we have what's called a muff, which would be like on a punt, comes down, caroms off of him, and the kicking team recovers it because he never physically had it in his possession. K can recover it, but they can't advance it. And you'll hear people yelling like, "Oh, why did they stop the play?" And well, that's why.
Sure.
So that's another one. A fair catch we see in college on kickoffs now. They see it and they'll see the ball come up and they'll do this on a kickoff, and the ball automatically comes to the 25. You fair catch in high school, whether it's a punt or a kickoff, you get it right there. That's
one of the ones that confuses me a little bit, because in college you get this and you go to the 20 or whatever it is.
20,
that's not the way it is. In high school, to get the ball as a touchback, that's got to get back to the end zone.
It's only got to get in the end zone because any fair catch in the field of play, you're going to get it right there.
Sure.
And then the other one I took back, and this is a big one, and then you've been at games, and we hear on a punt, we'll hear the kicking team that maybe has a short kick. What's the reference that we hear from every kicking or special teams coach? Peter, which is get away from the ball.
Sure.
And the reason they do that is because if the kicking team touches it first, it is because the ball's not down yet. They just touch it.
Yeah.
And it's still rolling. That's a free shot for the receiving team to pick up the ball and return it with no penalty. So if he returns it, he gets fumbled and the kicking team recovers it, the receiving team can take the choice of, well, we'd like where the kicking team first touched it. And they get, so basically it's a free return. And we teams tell they practice it. If a kicking team touches it, they might as well go try to pick it up and run it because they got that fallback.
Sure. There's no bad.
There's no unless they commit a penalty, it's a free shot at a return.
Sure.
So that's kind of 4 that come up that we see a lot of.
See, we learn from Don Umland. I love that. Busy night in the state of Iowa. Some interesting games. North Scott is hosting Pella. Pella's ranked 5th or 4th or something like that in the country. Really good team. North Scott getting some of their starters back. They've missed like a decent amount of starters for the first 2 games. So excited to see, Coach Stewart, and I believe home opener for North Scott as well. I think they've been on the road each of the first 2 weeks. Excuse me. I know they've been because week 1 they were on the road at Xavier, I believe, and then they had a Thursday night game last week. So big game.
No, they played Xavier. They played Xavier at home week 1, and then they went to Washington week 2.
Okay, there you go. So big game. Pella really good at North Scott. North and Marion always decent. North now 1-1. North wanting to get back on track after a disappointing loss last week. West and Central, Don, always fun with West and Central because that Davenport rivalry is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think anytime you get that city rivalry, regardless of record, and we know that, Moline, Rock Island, Central West North combos. I think the North game is intriguing because they're coming off Clear Creek Amana put it on them pretty good. Clear Creek Amana is really good. It's another one of those highly ranked state teams. So we're going to see where their resolve is this week. That's an interesting game for them against Marion, which we are not in district. We're not in those district games yet. We're in non-district. So
when you have a Central and a West, or those rivalry games, do you as a crew know that coming in? Do you understand that it, like, and is there anything do you do before the game? Because I'm assuming they're probably more chippy, they're probably more animated, they're probably more of those kind of things when it comes to the extracurricular stuff on the field, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean that's a pregame thing. You always you want to expect the unexpected. We had a situation in last week's game where we had a tussle and a helmet ripped off on the opening kickoff. And that created its own set of problems because as soon as the kickoff happens, you've got two new sets of teams coming on the field, the offense and the defense, and the kicking and receiving teams leaving. So you just never know when they're going to happen. But to answer your question, yeah, rivalry games, you want to be a little more attuned to,
Sure.
This. And what it can trigger is, chippiness.
Yeah,
so, yes.
No, absolutely. Bettendorf got back on track last week after losing to PV week 1. They're on the road at Prairie. Prairie's 2-0. Intrigued by Iowa City West at Pleasant Valley. Might be the best game of the night. I mean, PV lost a close one at a good Cedar Falls team last week on the road. That's a really good game. And you look at Iowa City West, they're 2-0 on the season. Should be a really good night at Spartan Stadium.
In terms of non-district games, that's a really marquee game in the area. Yeah, there's some really good matchups this week. It should be fun around the eastern half of the state.
Yeah, a couple more we'll talk about and mention real quick. Muscatine and Assumption, both teams 0-2. And Don, I hate to be that guy that like it's so early in the season, but after tonight, you're a third of the way through the season. 0-3 starts are tough to come back from. So one of those teams have to, get back on the right track. And it's Assumption and Muscatine, and I believe. I'm trying to think, it's Assumption's home opener because they were at Solon, then at Geneseo in a really cool game last week. So Assumption back at home, and then Central DeWitt's 2-0, and they welcome a 1-1 West Liberty team. The Sabres with a chance to get to 3-0 in the season.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. I think we get towards the playoffs and we see a lot of teams from out west for us making the playoffs, and you want to see if there's some teams that are on the eastern half of the state can make that indention, getting past a quarterfinal, semi. Central DeWitt's had some good teams in the past. I'm sure they're excited to be 2-0, and we'll see what their makeup is in this week 3 battle.
I love it. I also want to remind people, college football, pro football this weekend. I don't know if Don's heard about this. I think he has, but Nest Guess is back up and going. A longtime tradition from Mark Nestler, longtime sports editor at the Dispatch Rock Island Argus. We relaunched it a couple weeks ago. Very thankful to the people who participated in week 1. Thank you. Do it again. If you didn't participate in week 1, shame on you. Get signed up. Head to my social media. Click the link. It's easy to do. Each winner, each week, it's free hobo. Don and I met Monday and had a little hobo for lunch. So I think I've had hobo during my illness like 3 times. So, and obviously a great sponsor of not just Nest Guest, but the show. So, but, easy to find and hard to resist. And, that's what it's been for me through this sickness as well. So get online, get signed up for Nest Guest as well. All right, Donnie, we can't have you on without talking wrestling. Probably next Friday would have been more better than this Friday, but, maybe we'll have you on again next Friday too. Because setting up a week from tomorrow is a big day for professional wrestling. Obviously, the WWE will have WrestlePalooza, and then the little AEW thing that you like to watch a lot, and I do partake in to see if it can get
it's
better.
called All Out, yes, and it's
all
up in
all out,
Toronto
whatever they want to call it.
At 2 in the afternoon, because heaven forbid we can't, as consumers, go on different days and they have to move times around. But yes,
So
there are double the pleasure.
As a wrestling fan, is it annoying that the WWE's purposely scheduling events to counter-program the AEW events when it comes to pay-per-views?
No, I'm not pissed about it because at the end of the day, I mean, it's business. I mean, and if you're a consumer, because I'll probably watch both, but the beauty about it is, I can order one, I can watch it whenever, and I can watch, And the other thing, Matt, not to even concentrate on the matches this week, it's a new realm for us because now if you want to watch these PLEs, you got to have the ESPN app. So now you're going to be forking out $30 a month to have that app to be able to, for your viewing pleasure for these events going forward. So it's a big, but it's about money and making money in business.
We're just going to make Larry pay that, right?
I like that. Yeah,
that's good idea.
For
that's
me.
Just good. All right, I think we agree. We'll vote on it. All in favor of Larry paying for it all? Aye. All right,
second.
That's good enough. That's good. I mean, I don't see and nays. No nays. So sorry, Larry.
He is the tribal. He is the tribal chief, so he should.
Let's pump the brakes on that.
He can think that, and then he can pay. It's fine.
He can't do either of that. So looking ahead a little bit, I don't want to get into both cards, but like kind of what intrigues you about the all around or all in or all out, whatever it is, AEW wise. Caesar's probably watching this getting mad at me because I'm poking fun a little bit at AEW. And then obviously it's a big event when it comes to WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, I think if we're going to talk about AEW, at least briefly, I mean, Cope and Christian, or Edge, because we want to know him in a big match against FTR. I think, I think that's a fun match because we have an invested interest now in the Edge Christian merger, even though they're not being buddy-buddy. That's kind of cool because we maybe someday we'll see them.
And back in Canada.
Yeah, they're back in Canada. They're facing FTR. That's a big fun match. Hangman and Fletcher, I know you're not that excited, is the main event, but it is for the world title. Storm, Hayter, Statlander, they're with one other person in a 4-way for the women's title. Okay. I think the one that obviously I'm looking forward to is Moxley and Darby, because this has been brewing from the fact when Darby disappeared, did the climb up Everest. The belt's been taken off of Moxley. Now these two are going to engage each other, but there might be some other parties other than his stable that's involved in that match. So
what do you think? Who? What are you thinking? Do I need help?
He just wrestled him the other night on Saturday, so it's all of a sudden it's escaping me.
Oh, I struggle to watch on Wednesday nights, more or less Saturday nights.
I understand that, but I do think there could be some influence.
MJF Briscoe's a good. I don't really not much goes. Briscoe doesn't resonate with me very well, but I love MJF and what he does.
I'll say this, Matt. Even though you're not a big fan of Briscoe, they've actually put a storyline to develop this match to this point, which is what we want. We want some storytelling.
Nope, I appreciate that. All right, let's go to the big leagues.
Okay.
You got Cena on your shirt. Cena, Lesnar, man, sign me up.
We're just getting something one more time that we probably thought we would never get again. Mm-hmm. One of the main rivalries of his in his heyday. So, what will happen? I don't know. I mean, Brock's, I assume, unlike AJ Lee, which we'll discuss in a minute, I don't think Brock's staying around for that long. So, does he win? I think.
You think Brock wins?
No, I think Cena wins.
Yeah, no, I do too. I don't know if Cena loses again until his last match, and then that's a different topic. And
that's a great debate, obviously, we'll get to and see who that's going to be.
Yeah, who it is and whether you go out on your back or you go out as a winner. You mentioned Davenport's own Seth Rollins and his lovely wife, Becky Lynch, against CM Punk and his wife, AJ Lee. It's really a fun development in that rivalry, and then obviously it's leading to a bigger one-on-one matchup later down the road with Seth and Punk. But cool, and a really cool mixed tag on a week from Saturday.
Matt, it's so much fun when you have matches that involve some sense of reality to it, and this one does. And when you can blur those lines, it's just you get invested. It'll be fun. I don't know who will win, but it'll be fun.
Yeah,
and it'll be the first time we've seen AJ Lee in the ring since 2015. So We'll see what she's like. Yeah. But she has the advantage, obviously, of having a pretty darn good training partner behind the scenes in her husband. So I'm sure.
I don't know how old she is, but she looks in incredible shape, obviously. So
she's 36.
Okay,
36 or 38.
She's not too old at all.
No, but she was 10 years ago. She was a kid when she came in. She was like 25.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then a few others. I don't want to get into everything, but I know Cody and Drew is something that I believe is expected or announced. I think for that as well.
I think that's expected. That'll be fun. You got Io Sky, Stephanie Vacour, You got the Uzos and the Vision, which is really cool because we're starting to see hints of Jay maybe splintering away.
Is there a heel turn with Jay? That'd be crazy.
You certainly wonder by the way he's
so
acting.
He's so over with young people. You'd be surprised to see it. But with that being said, like, it would be an interesting storyline to go down. The WWE has a big announcement this afternoon live at 2:00. I think you and I are both assuming they're announcing WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia in 2027. Is that kind of where you're at with it?
It certainly gives the appearance that they're going to go to Riyadh, which they've been going once a year and now a little more than that. But obviously they're throwing them a truckload of money if they're going to take what we would consider our Super Bowl of wrestling abroad.
I don't know if I love it, Don.
I don't know if I love it either. I get it from a business standpoint again. I hate to see that event go away from here. Hopefully it's just for a year. But we've seen how the international crowds react and will show up. I mean, that place will be jammed to the gills with people from all over the world.
And Royal Rumble's someplace overseas this year as well, isn't it?
I believe, yes. Yeah.
I can't remember if it's in Europe or whatever, but it's not in America.
But it really takes, Matt, the term World Wrestling Entertainment that's been our staple here.
Yeah.
They're branding, worldwide. So, pretty big deal.
Who do your Huskers have this week before we let you go? Like flag.
Sisters of the Poor, I believe.
Is it some
small
easy game? They don't have a tough game on their schedule till like the last 2 weeks.
Next week, Matt. Next week.
Who's next?
Michigan comes to town.
I mean, yeah.
Well, it's a step up. We're going to find
absolutely.
out if they want to be. We're going to find out if they want to be a pretender or contender in the conference next week.
Well, I hope they fail miserably. But you know me.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
All right, Donnie. We'll have a good game tonight locally. Don't mess it up. Don't do anything crazy, and we'll talk to you again here real soon.
Appreciate it, Matt. See
Thanks,
ya.
pal. Don Umland talking a little Iowa side of the river, high school football with me, and then some officiating stuff as well. That lightning stuff is really interesting. So I wanted to chat with him about that, and then of course, if you got Don on wearing his scene and stuff, you gotta talk a little wrestling as well. So we'll wrap up the show. A fun show today. It's almost noon, so eventually I got to get my butt out of here. Thank you to my cough button, which I'm going to use one more time. I don't know if you guys have been watching me, but I'll mute it and then hawk up along here. But feeling a lot better. Thank you to those people who have reached out a little bit. I'll be fine. Can't wait for tomorrow. The Hawkeye Tailgate Show is live at 4:30 at Krause Family Plaza. Everywhere on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Here in the Quad Cities, it's Vintage Radio 107.7. So check it out. Excited about that. We mentioned earlier, Pat Anger will be on the show. Torrin Young is the honorary captain. Of course, Kurt going for the record. A good press box perspective as well with some of the beat writers around the Iowa program. And a little 101 with Xavier Wampa as well. So that should be fun as well. So check the Hawkeye Tailgate Show tomorrow, 4:30 around the state. Excited for that as well. We just mentioned it with Don, but the Nest Guest contest is up and going. Great responses already. Free as free can be. Head to my social media on Facebook and Twitter. Click the link. We'll get it back out there again some more this afternoon. It takes no time to sign up, and you got to put your name and maybe email. And congratulations to Cesar Sanchez for winning week 1 and win some fun food, some delicious food from Hungry Hobo each and every week. Thank you again to Hungry Hobo for sponsoring that as well. This weekend, we may do a post-game college show, depending. It's going to be a late night getting back from Kinnick Stadium, so I don't know exactly what Kakert wants to do. Obviously, Iowa State on the road at Arkansas State, and then Illinois is a night game as well. They are at home against Western Michigan. So maybe we'll hop on Saturday, depending how everything kind of lines up and everything as well. But we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there. Bears-Lions on Sunday, always a big day in the Randazzo household. So we'll have that talked about on Monday, plus a whole weekend of high school football and college football as well. So enjoy your weekend. Thanks for dealing with me this week. We made it through without missing a lot of shows. Didn't have a show on Monday because of no voice. But back out here for all of these shows. If you missed them, go check them out. Some great content throughout the week. So, spend some time this weekend or this evening if you got some time this afternoon, and go check out the shows. And as I always mention, tell a friend or 2 or 10 about what we're doing each and every day off the air with Matt Randazzo, weekdays 10 a.m. Right here on YouTube and X as well. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to our sponsors. We will see you on the Hawkeye Radio Show, Hawkeye Tailgate Show tomorrow, and then we'll see you back here on Monday for sure. Have a great weekend, Quad Cities.